So many questions. What's the root of all this gun violence? Are there warning signs? How do Americans, especially children, cope with all of this frightening news?
Joining us to address those questions is forensic psychiatrist and author Carol Lieberman. Thank you so much for joining us, Carol.
Thank you.
So as a mental health professional, what is the discussion that needs to be going on in this country right now from your perspective?
People need to realize that all of these mass shootings could have been prevented if someone would have paid attention to what was going on in the mind of the shooter. It didn't just happen one day. I mean, these examples, they were planned ahead of time. You know, the Ohio shooter, for example, in 2010, 2011, he made a list of classmates that he wanted to shoot because they were bullying him. Of course, now news has come out that he actually was bullying girls who didn't want to go out with him, which totally fits what happened. You know, he shot up the people at these bars, people who were dating, people who were having fun, and he felt left out of that. And the shooter in Texas, you know, it was more of a hate crime. But regardless of, you know, the slight differences between each of them, there's an underlying issue, which is a lot of anger. A garlic festival guy said that, I'm angry. And there are people who, you know, should have known, notably their parents. But even in the Ohio one, that one is just, the school saw, they made him leave when they saw that he had this list, but then they let him go back. So why wasn't he in therapy? You know, why? Maybe he was during that time, and that's why they let him back, but he should have been it now.
But why is it that in this country, the rate of mental health is the same as the rest of the world? Why is it this country that we're seeing these mass shootings and people blaming it on mental health issues?
Well, you know, there is more stress here, and there's a lack of enough psychiatric treatment, really. But you know, in other countries, there's kind of more of a family sort of atmosphere. People try to take care of each other. Here, these shooters are great examples of guys who felt very alone and very out of society, very isolated. No one was really paying any attention to them.
And what about the state of our political divide in this country? We're going to have a story coming up about the Democratic presidential candidates that point a finger at President Trump and saying he is, in essence, inciting violence. Is that a valid point, do you think?
I don't think it's fair, really, to blame, every time there's a shooting, they blame Trump. I don't think that that's fair. Even the Texas shooter actually said specifically when they're going to blame Trump for what I did. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, there is a big political divide.
I mean, certainly there have been shootings before Mr. Trump took office.
Right.
So the Walmart shooting, parents were with their children in that store because they go back to school tomorrow on Monday. There are a lot of children in this country that are afraid, just afraid to be in school. The Parkland thing really set off a lot of children to think it's not a safe place to be.
Yes.
What are we as parents supposed to be telling our children?
Well, we need to be, the key actually isn't to just wait until there's a shooting, a school shooting or this kind of a shooting. It's to start now to make your child more resilient. That means doing things every day to get the child to feel more confident in themselves, to understand what's going on. You know, it's such a secret. We do these school drills, mm-hmm. The shooter drills, and that is so wrong, and that is so frightening to kids because they don't understand what they're doing and why and it doesn't work. And instead, parents and teachers need to talk to kids about what's going on in the world at their level, but they need to understand, and that will help a lot to make them more calmer.
Complex situation for sure.
It's an area that needs so much more explanation because, you know, talking to the kids can mean so many different things, but it is a good
trying
point
to allay
leave
fears
on.
and yet they might be stoking them as well. Carol, thanks
so much
for
coming
joining
in.
us
Appreciate
today.
it.
All right, we'll turn to Fox 11 News for continuing coverage of the mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton. Keep updated on our website, foxla.com, and our Fox Los Angeles Facebook page.